Hello, I'm Philip Stoten. I'm here at Apex 2018 and I'm joined by Mike from Siemens PLM. Mike, thanks for stopping by to chat. Since the acquisition, I don't know how many months it's been since the acquisition of Mentor, but there's a lot to be brought together, there's a lot to be integrated. What have you seen in terms of the tangible benefits of bringing those two large teams together, and particularly when we look at some of the challenges in the industry where we do need larger companies involved? What do you see you being able to offer the customer?
Sure. Yeah, it's great to be here, by the way. So I think that there has been a little bit of time now that has gone by since the merger of the two companies. Really, Siemens acquired Mentor with the intent of putting it together with Siemens PLM. And I think that it's an interesting transition. Since 2007, Siemens has acquired quite a few different companies and technologies, and Mentor is the latest one. And it now makes Siemens the largest provider of industrial software in the world. And I think that's important, not because we're big, but because we have an understanding of how software and automation together, because of Siemens' rich history as an automation provider, can really help companies transform. And in this case, we're talking about the transformation of electronics companies into what we like to call a digital enterprise. And I think that the value that we bring now to the electronics space is really a couple of key things. One is that we have always been very good in Siemens and the Siemens PLM division within the digital factory organization of Siemens at the mechanical design and function of a product and the way in which we produce those products in the factory. Now with Mentor, we have the electrical side of the story together with that. And we now have the opportunity to come to a customer and tell them that the mechanical and the electrical no longer have to be separated. They can be developed at the same time. And from a production point of view, that means that the PCB, electronic manufacturing, and the mechanical box build come together in one place and allows us to produce a true digital twin of a production system that is now connected to automation. Siemens understands how to make things happen in the factory. Our ability to connect that virtual model to the real working production facility, I think, is one of the areas where we're going to see the most benefit to our customers.
Yeah, and you can see the huge value there, the domain expertise from the different areas coming together and adding value. And you talk about the digital transformation of the electronics industry, but that's true for all of the OEMs that are customers of the electronics industry as well. So maintaining that digital thread's key. With respect to Industry 4.0, smart factories, Siemens were involved very early on, and I know the Siemens Hamburg and the Siemens Chengdu plant are seen as kind of trailblazers in Industry 4.0. How important is that influence as that flows into Mentor and allows them to develop in that area?
Yeah, tremendous value there. It's extremely important. We see our ability as an organization to provide the most precise digital twin, which means that you can't just stop at the design, you can't just stop at simulation of the process to put a product together, you must go into production. And our ability to understand how to automate a system and then operate it and collect data from that system and feed it back for continuous improvement, I think this is the promise of IoT. The fact that we are able to do it in our own factories, that we can collect that data and do something meaningful with it. Now with some of the recent announcements around how we're expanding that with our MindSphere platform and the integration of IoT capability from Valor, we have the ability to take this massive amount of data and make sense of it all. And make sense of it in a way that we can pinpoint exactly what needs to be done and then predict what's going to happen next. And I think our ability to kind of go forward in time, running a virtual model that's connected somehow to production and go forward in time to understand what's going to happen next is really where we probably are well positioned to help our customers the most.
Yeah, and last question, you talked a little bit about digital twin, which is a term we're starting to hear more and more. Also influences like augmented reality, artificial intelligence, we're seeing them come into the market, and the players here aren't always large enough to deal with that. You'd expect Siemens to have a lot of that stuff going on in the background and be able to drive that down into this market.
Yeah, certainly on the VR and the AR level, clearly we're demonstrating that here this week, our ability to immerse our users in the environment, not just for the sake of visualizing what's going on, but to actually use that tool as an engineering process tool to say that if I'm in the environment and I see something that I normally see or can't perceive the same way on a flat screen that's showing me a 3D model, I can make those changes in the VR environment. I can collaborate with other people in that environment and commit those changes to the model that I started from. The second thing is with augmented reality, we now have the ability to guide the operator, to guide the service technician, to give some information on demand that they otherwise wouldn't have, that improves their ability to perform the task. And not only that, ask the system from an AI point of view, did I do it right? To give not only the operator the confidence that the job was done right, but to follow through on compliance and regulatory things that we might need to follow, if it's a medical device, if it's electronics, if it's related to material. I know that that job was done according to my internal requirements, that it meets specification, because the augmented reality system allowed me to validate that and enter it into the system. And then I think the last thing is AI. I think AI is going to change lots of things in our lives. It already has. I don't know that AI is really exposed the way other technologies are. It's being used today all the time, and we don't even know it. But its ability to help us with data analysis, with understanding what's happening next, with how to operate my digital twin, my virtual production facility in concert with my real production facility, I think is where we're headed, and Siemens is heavily invested in that. You're going to see a lot more, I think, in that area from many companies, but certainly Siemens is aware of that and trying to take advantage of it as much as we can.
Yeah, I think exciting times ahead, some technology there that are really some of these key digital building blocks on which we can build value for the customers.
Absolutely.
Mike, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you
Absolute
very
pleasure
much.
to talk to you.
Yeah, same here.
you.
Thank you.